All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful day. We got a lot to talk about because today was painfully slow and it felt like the holiday hangover, but we have so much we are going to deal with this week. And if you saw the bond market, I got a couple of things we're going to focus on in this video. Everything is setting up for a very big move into next week. Now, here's the deal. I was going to tell you how the market is ready to move big, but the big calendar is next week. But even after some of the reactions we got today on a low volume day, there is still data this week that has the potential to move. And even tomorrow, we are going to start the barrage of Fed speakers with, I believe, 3 different speakers tomorrow. So, Chad, we got a lot to talk about. I got the recap of the day. I have some plays I want to go over, and then we got to talk about the rest of the week. So what I need from you, a thumbs up on that video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/the stock market. We will see you there in the morning, baby. Run it.
Walking to the couch, it's the 2020 election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
But right off the bat, there's a lot of places we could start with on the day, but you could kind of see it. We did not do much throughout the trading day. You barely moved even outside of the day before's range, and even leading into the morning, we started off a little bit weaker because there was some weak China data. Now, into the morning, we talked about it yesterday. There was a lot of debate about Black Friday. A couple of companies, Shopify, Affirm, and I think even Roku, those were the biggest benefactors of Black Friday. I think year over year, buy now, pay later payments went up by 50%. Affirm rocketed. Shopify said they hit a record, but here's the thing. Not all retail went up today, and you can see not really any of the market really moved, but the thing is, some people are debating whether or not this was a good Black Friday. The numbers look good. They sound very good, but there's a couple of data points that were highlighting the slower amount of foot traffic. So that's what we were dealing with in the morning, but the main story, I got the S&P and bonds overlaid here. We're going to come back to that, but throughout the day, the bonds already had a gap up in the morning, and then they started to just go absolutely insane, and it was a result of bad data. New home sales came in weaker. I think Dallas Fed came in weaker, and then all of the bond auctions actually had a good bid. So this is what created the bonds rallying and recovering that couple of days that they sold off there, just leading into Friday. But this is the thing I want to talk about now, because I will go over the schedule. Actually, maybe I should. I'm going to go over the calendar first because it's very simple what we're going to get. I think tomorrow is going to trade a lot like today, or maybe we'll be able to move a little bit more, but you only have a couple of data points. In the morning, that GfK consumer confidence in Germany, that has the ability to move things or maybe dictate gap up or gap down, but you're getting Redbook, house prices, and then consumer board of confidence. This is all tomorrow, but then the Fed speakers and I believe the 7-year bond auction, these are going to be the only other things that will be the X factor. But like we saw today, you could get the data, there could be a subtle reaction, or maybe equities don't move much, and then the bonds are the ones that benefit off of it the most. But why I am bringing this up, because if the equities don't move, I want you to understand why the bonds keep moving. And this is what I was talking about yesterday, but I did not give you the visual. So again, investing.com, search the Fed rate monitor tool. These are the Fed futures. This is how you determine the probability of a rate hike or a rate cut. And we were talking about rate cuts being priced into March. That was the extreme bullish scenario. Right now, the market is really holding on that, yeah, we're going to be cutting by June. You can see we're here right now at 5.2 to 5.5. More probabilities are for that number and lower, indicating that the market is expecting a cut. But like we were just saying here, if you saw what happened last week, there was some volatility in March, and that's what I noticed here today. Those probabilities went up a little bit, but after all of the data that we got today, every time it would come in a little bit worse, start going down the curve, and you'll notice previous day probability today had a loosening of financial conditions as that data came in bad. And the thing is, this is why I had the overlay. What you really have to realize right now is that the SPY in equities have very much outpaced the bond market. So that's why you get this big divergence here. But the problem with that, this is one of the biggest divergence we've seen. But the more you pull out this chart, the fear is, yeah, the divergence might close once again like we've seen every other time, and that would be dependent on the data. That's why the gap right now, some people are saying, no, all the future data, it's going to confirm that the bonds go up, and if they're wrong, that means the market may need to come down here. But over the next couple of days until we get Powell, or at least until we get the PCE, since that is bigger data this week, I would be watching all of the data, how it moves the bonds. It may even move bonds way more than equities, and pay attention to these Fed futures, because beneath the surface, this is the thing that is borderline determining financial conditions. Or if you want to know when Powell is really going to react, if this starts losing control and you start seeing the data get the market jumpy on here, people say it's time to buy TLT, then we are going to potentially get an interesting reaction of Powell, or it will confirm that end of the year rally and then everything is all clear. So it's not that complicated with what we're moving forward with. I know even if it's new to you, it may sound a little complicated, but the thing is, we need patience. And like I said at the beginning of the year, this week is important. We're coming after the holidays. We get to kind of see how we're ending the month, but next week, that is the big data. You get the JOLTS jobs openings, the non-farms, and from there, that will be the next step, which I'm sure is either going to widen this gap further or maybe bring them closer together. So that's all we're going to be dealing with. It wasn't much after that. There was a couple of earnings. I told you about the Black Friday stuff. There is going to be that OPEC meeting on Thursday, and that is very big. And even some other commodities like wheat got absolutely destroyed today. And then the yen went up, so we are going to hear from Bank of Japan. But like I'm saying, you see the volumes low. I am expecting a pickup, but we may need to be patient here. And right now, financial conditions, rate hike odds, and the relationship with bonds and stocks, but more so what the bonds are doing, this is going to be the most important thing. So I got to show you, just for sake of bringing it up every time, take notice of where the 10-year is. Yesterday it was a little higher when I showed you. Today, after a result, you're seeing progress there. So watch out for the bonds. We had a nice talk on TLT today, actually every day. But here's the deal. Just monitor it. I'm telling you, if you know the what, don't worry about the when. You want this bond stability to stay, and you just don't want bonds to repeat what they have done for the last 3 years on every single rally off of the bottom. So it's going to be exciting this week, I hope. Otherwise, by the end of the week, maybe we get a couple of burn days, and then towards the end of the week into next week, that's where things will start heating up. But now, let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I had a couple of plays. I'm holding a MES overnight that I did as a result. I think it was after the bond auction, but I made a play when the first set of data came out. It was actually new home sales, and then I flipped out of it for like break even, a $30 loss. I was like, I just got out of the play. We did good on the bond plays, and then it ended up being a good one. Then the MES I'm holding, I think I'm only down like $20 on it or so now. It wasn't too crazy, but as far as other plays, I was saying it today. Any of these trades, I would wait for the data, especially coming into later this week and next week. That's why I keep highlighting it. These could be the potential data sets that get the Fed futures moving, and if they move, bonds and stocks are going to move with it. Now, maybe there will be false signals, but so far, it has been pretty good. So watch out for that. But as far as the other plays now, one thing I'm going to be watching for tomorrow is Meta. Now, this one was really interesting because they gapped down in the morning. It was looking ugly, and then they found a way to go green somehow, which was good considering like Google, Microsoft, and Apple were red for a little bit, and then they started dumping out of nowhere. And the reason was, this is why they dropped in the morning, and why I'm kind of thinking here, but there was news about like some court case appeal, but there was a very scathing Wall Street Journal article talking about sexual content, children, and how advertisers were being presented, and it was not good. But you saw the gap down in the morning, they ate it up, and then it started dropping. So the thing is, Meta is one of the top performers of the year. They've been absolutely killing it. If we start to see some negativity, or if people are talking about maybe going into the stuff that's beaten down at the end of the year, watch out. Meta has led the way, and I do think to the downside, there may be opportunity, but you got to be careful shorting Meta sometimes because it's just as crazy as NVIDIA. I know, it's wild, but that is play number one. Watch out for them. Then play number two, CRM. And again, I hate to break this to you. I don't know how to play this one. I may be thinking after earnings, but the thing I don't want you to forget is that CRM has been a crazy mover this year, and it has followed in the footsteps of Facebook in the sense that they were getting beaten down. People were worried about management and all sorts of things, and they came back. They've been guiding up and doing all of that. They are at a real big point here, and they could either recover a lot more or they could sell off. Pretty much right now, it looks like Netflix, if they have a good earnings, it may start looking like Meta. So watch out for their earnings. That is going to be this week. Ask me for the preview. We'll go over all of that. But like I'm saying, either before or after, maybe if the market gets hyped up on data, that could be the opportunity for a pre-earnings run-up. So watch out for them. I really think CRM is going to be important. That is play number two. And then finally, play number three. Now, this one is interesting. It is ARK. So I hope all of you by now remember the reasoning why. This is the ghetto rate hike play or rate cut play, and it has worked out. So why I'm bringing it up? Because they are at a breakout point. This is where they were last time, and if you remember these options, these were the options that we bought at like 38 cents or whatnot. So they're almost at 1,000%. There's two things I want to talk about. One, watch ARK. Like I'm telling you, Fed futures, that rate cut stuff, I mean, you got to keep an eye out, but they're getting to the bottom level of where they were at the beginning of the year. That was kind of their high, but if they get above there and then they start working up, there's a lot of upside on this play. But now you only have like 53 days left on this contract. We've been holding it. So what do you do now? I talked about this today. We bought these options for 48 cents. You know what that means? Or 38 cents. That means you could ghetto spread this or take profit. Right now, $300 turned into $2,000. You could take it all if you like that gain. If you want to push it and you're like, yeah, the market, Santa Claus, all this other stuff, you can hold it, but you will feel like a jack A if this ends up going down. So we talk about the ghetto spread, and the interesting part, you could sell these 50s right here. If you have 10 contracts, that means every dollar per share, that's $1,000. So $46 to 50, $4, that's a potential gain of $4,000. But the best part is, if you sold 10 of these, you could get about $900, almost 300 or 200% of your initial investment. So I'm going to be watching this and monitoring it. I monitor, that's a lot of syllables, but I'm going to be keeping my eye out for it. I don't know what I want to do yet. I'm leaning towards the ghetto spread, but in the same respect, you're seeing bonds and what people are talking about. This could be one of those good extreme plays, especially if we have a crazy year. But then again, last year has taught us here today, gone tomorrow. So you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not hike. I'm telling you what. No, okay. Anyways, but Chad, either way, it should be exciting throughout the rest of the week. Don't force anything, but I don't have anything else besides that. So that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. And I need you to remember, you are a tough individual, and that's what you will need in all the times of adversity and all the times that of adversity has gotten greatness from you. If you really go back and look, but also don't lie to yourself. Okay? Oh, the purgatory. I can't even explain. You have to be there for the philo, man. So, Chad, I love you. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening. Make sure you get some good rest. Drink some water, a bottle in the morning. A bottle, just down it, baby, and be in the game. And I love you, and God bless you all. And horn.